Hello students, so let us discuss the concept of relative atomic mass today. Relative atomic mass is also called in the short form as RAM. Fine. So first of all, let us try to guess just by the name itself what is going to come. Atomic mass would mean the mass of one atom, and relative, whenever you encounter this word relative in science, it would mean in comparison to something. So the relative atomic mass for any atom, that is the RAM, is defined as the mass of one atom of element upon the mass of one atom of hydrogen. So that is how we define relative atomic mass. Okay. So basically, before we move ahead, I would just like to make clear a few points. That is, since we are doing mass upon mass in this case, so that clearly means if you apply basic mathematics that RAM, that is the relative atomic mass, will be unitless. It will not have any unit. That means to say that it will be a pure number, and each atom has its own RAM. So just giving you a few examples, we are not supposed to learn them, but just to take some few examples, that is that the atom of helium has a relative atomic mass of 4. Fine. The atom of carbon has a relative atomic mass of 12. The atom of oxygen has a relative atomic mass of 16. So basically, fundamentally what this means is these numbers simply indicate how many times a given atom is heavier as compared to the hydrogen atom. So when I say that helium has an relative atomic mass of 4, it means that one atom of helium is 4 times heavier than one hydrogen atom. Similarly, when I say that carbon has a RM of 12, it means that one carbon atom is 12 times heavier as compared to one hydrogen atom. Now, let us try to look at the meaning of this RM in detail, and let us try to analyze that what is it that makes helium 4 times heavier as compared to hydrogen. What is it that makes carbon 12 times heavier as compared to hydrogen? So basically we are going to look more into the meaning of these numbers, right? So for that we'll use some basic knowledge of the structure of atom. From our previous studies, we all must be knowing that in any atom there is a very tiny nucleus, and the electrons orbit around the nucleus in circular orbit. I am quite sure all of you must be familiar with this small picture of atom. So this is my nucleus, and in the outer orbits are present the electrons. Fine. So this basic idea regarding the structure of atom we all must be having. Now, in the nucleus are found the protons and neutrons, and for both the protons and neutrons I can use the collective term nucleons. Fine. So mass of, I'm just sharing some experimental data with you, that is mass of one proton is equals to the mass of one neutron. Proton and neutron are almost of the same mass, and since both of them can be called as nucleons, I can also write this is also equals to the mass of one nucleon. Why am I writing this? Because both the protons and the neutrons can be collectively called as the nucleons. In the similar manner, like suppose there is a classroom and there are 20 students, 10 of them are boys, 10 of them are girls. So I can use the term student for the boy as well and the girl as well. In a similar manner, if in a nucleus protons and neutrons are found, I can use the term nucleon for both the proton and the neutron. Since this term nucleon basically over here is derived from the fact that they are found inside the nucleus. So coming back to the point, mass of one proton is equals to mass of one neutron is equals to mass of one nucleon, which is equals to 1.66 into 10 raised to the power minus 24 gram. This is the mass of one nucleon, and if we try to convert it into kilograms, we will basically divide it by 1000. So that gives me 1.66 into 10 raised to the power minus 27 kilograms. So this is the mass of one nucleon. Fine. Moving ahead, if I now tell you the mass of one electron, the mass of one electron is equals to 9.1 into 10 raised to the power minus 28 gram. This is the mass of one electron, and if I convert it into kilograms, I will basically divide it by 1000. So that gives me 9.1 into 10 raised to the power minus 31 kilogram. Fine. So this is some experimental data which I have just shared with you. Now when I have to write the mass of one atom of element, the mass of one atom of element, it can be written as, see, in the atom you find the nucleons and the electrons. So the mass of one atom of element can be written as the total mass of nucleons plus the total mass of electrons. I hope this makes sense to all of you, because in the atom we find the nucleons and the electrons, and if we add their total masses, we'll get the total mass of the atom. Now if we just compare the mass of one nucleon and the mass of electron, the mass of one nucleon, I told you, it was of the order of 10 raised to the power minus 24 gram, and the mass of one electron is of the order of 10 raised to the power minus 28 gram. So basically, if we do some rough calculations out here, roughly mass of one nucleon divided by the mass of one electron gives me the value as roughly, approximately. See, the mass of one nucleon was of the order of 10 raised to the power minus 24. I'm just taking the rough values. I'm ignoring the initial numbers. I'm just focusing on the powers of 10. So it was in the range of 10 raised to the power minus 24 in grams. And similarly, the mass of one electron was in the range of 10 raised to the power minus 28. Now if you solve this value, this gives you as 10 raised to the power 4, which is basically 10,000. So what does this mean? This means that one nucleon is roughly 10,000 times heavier as compared to one electron. That is a huge number. So basically, the mass of one nucleon is so much higher than the mass of one electron that while writing the mass of an atom, we can ignore the mass of electrons. It's just like saying that if we have to measure the mass of an elephant, and on the top of an elephant a mosquito is sitting, then basically we can neglect the mass of mosquito because the mass of one mosquito is negligible in comparison to mass of one elephant. So on the same lines, when we write the mass of atom, we can ignore the mass of electrons. This is one very important concept, and basically we will only consider the mass of nucleons. Fine. So moving ahead, now in the mass of one atom of element, I will only consider the mass of one nucleon, the total mass of nucleons. I will ignore the mass of electrons. So now the total mass of nucleons can be written as the mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons, because we have neglected the mass of electrons. So now we just need to focus on the mass of nucleons. So mass of one atom of an element can be written as the mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons present in it. Now if I apply this definition to the concept of Rm, I am again taking you back to the definition of Rm. and I had defined Rm as mass of one atom of element divided by the mass of one atom of hydrogen. Fine. Now the mass of one atom of element can be written as mass of one nucleon, because we had ignored the mass of electrons, remember, so I'm just focusing on the nucleons. It can be written as the mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons upon the mass of one atom of hydrogen. Now hydrogen is the simplest atom which has just one nucleon. So I will write, for hydrogen atom I will write mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons in hydrogen atom is 1. So now what happens in this definition is that this mass of one nucleon and mass of one nucleon gets cancelled out, and I am left with Rm is equals to the total number of nucleons. So this is what Rm basically means, which in your earlier classes you might have read as the mass number. Fine. However, there is a slight difference between mass number and Rm, which I shall be explaining in due course of time. But for the time being, we can consider Rm as the total number of nucleons. So that is just basically a number. And now if I tell you the Rm of some standard elements, helium has an Rm of 4, lithium has an Rm of 7. You are not supposed to remember this data. Carbon has an Rm of 12. Nitrogen has an Rm of 14. Oxygen has an Rm of 16. Sodium has an Rm of 23. So what do these numbers basically stand for? These numbers basically stand for the total number of nucleons present in the atom. Fine. So when I say that sodium has an Rm of 23, it means that one atom of sodium has 23 nucleons. When I say that helium has an Rm of 4, it means that one helium atom has 4 nucleons, and that is why helium is 4 times heavier than hydrogen. Why? Because hydrogen has just one nucleon and helium has 4 nucleons, so its mass is 4 times. Lithium has 7 nucleons, so that is why it is 7 times heavier than hydrogen. So I hope that makes you familiar with the concept of Rm. Rm is a very important concept which we'll be using in our further discussion. Okay students, so let us now discuss some more scales on which we can define the relative atomic mass. One of the scales used is the oxygen 16 scale. If you try and recall, earlier we had defined the relative atomic mass on the hydrogen scale. Now we are going to define the same on the oxygen 16 scale. On the oxygen 16 scale, Rm is defined as the mass of one atom of element divided by 1 by 16 times the mass of one atom of oxygen 16. Okay. Now you might be wondering that why have I placed an extra 1 by 16 over here, this thing over here, right? Because when I was defining Rm on the hydrogen scale, I had simply compared it with the mass of one atom of oxygen. However, when I am defining Rm on the oxygen 16 scale, I have placed this extra 1 by 16 in the denominator. Now, the idea behind this is that whatever the scale I choose, the meaning of Rm must remain unchanged. That is, Rm must be equal to the total number of nucleons. Fine. So now if I further write that mass of one atom of element, which we had learned to write as the mass of one nucleon, into the total number of nucleons. Fine. This is how we had defined the mass of one atom of element. Mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons divided by this 1 by 16 will remain as it is, 1 by 16 into mass of one atom of oxygen 16. Now when I write mass of one atom of oxygen 16, I will write it as the mass of one nucleon into, in case of hydrogen I had multiplied it by 1. However, oxygen has 16 nucleons, so the mass of one atom of oxygen would be mass of one nucleon, this is mass of one nucleon into 16. Now what will happen is that this 16 and 16 will get cancelled out from here. The mass of one nucleon and the mass of one nucleon will be cancelled out, and ultimately we'll be left with RAM is equals to the total number of nucleons. Fine. So you see, the idea behind this is that whatever the scale we choose, the meaning of RM shall remain unchanged. At this point of time, I am just telling you how do we define RM and oxygen 16 scale. As and by we move ahead with our lectures, very soon we'll be also discussing that why did we have to change the scale from hydrogen, first initially from hydrogen to oxygen, and then from oxygen the present accepted scale is that of the carbon scale. So I'll just define RM on the carbon scale as well. So the present accepted scale is the C12 scale, and now I think you all must be in a comfortable position to define RM on C12 scale. It will be RAM is equals to mass of one atom of element divided by, now I'm sure you all must be quite comfortable to figure out this time that when I define it on the carbon C12 scale, I will place 1 by 12 times the mass of one atom of C12. Fine. This is how we'll define RM on C12 scale. And further, if we use little bit of what we have learned in the past, we can also prove this to be equal to the total number of nucleons. How? Mass of one atom of element will be mass of one nucleon into the total number of nucleons divided by 1 by 12 into mass of one nucleon into carbon will have 12 nucleons, so I'll place a 12 over here. This 12 and 12 gets cancelled out. This mass of one nucleon gets cancelled out, and ultimately we are left with RM is equals to the total number of nucleons. Fine. So this is the basic meaning and the definition of RM, and again to repeat myself, I'll be explaining this to you that why did we have to change the scales initially from hydrogen to oxygen and then from oxygen to carbon. You might also be wondering that we can define it on any particular scale, like suppose if we want to define it on the sodium scale, we can write that mass of one atom of element upon 1 by 23. But what you need to understand is that these are some of the accepted scales worldwide. Theoretically, we can define it on any scale. However, practically, you will find these three particular scales, that is the hydrogen scale, the oxygen scale and the carbon scales to be more popular, and presently the accepted scale is the one of carbon. So as we move ahead, we will discuss this particular point, that what was the need as such to change the scales. Thank you.